started. Gather round, folks. Yep, this is the microphone. Raise your chair up a bit.
I do look shocked.
Yeah, we gotta be nicely in frame.
I'm gonna be taller.
Alright, welcome everybody to Altacast number 8. Joel's drawing back there. So today we're joined with a special guest.
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Serena.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we've got Serena today joining us. And as usual, it's gonna be me and Joel as well. It's the first 3-man podcast we're gonna do.
3 men. I'm sorry.
What a start.
We're gonna get grilled on Twitter. Or I am at least. So, yep. Let's start with a quick update on what everyone's doing. So, Timo and Victor are out on holiday right now. Victor just left. Timo's finishing his up. No, he's halfway through.
So if next patch everything breaks.
Yeah, so Joel's the only programmer we have right now at the office.
It's my fault.
And it's just the 3 of us actually.
It's fun. It's nice. It's fun.
Sebastian and
It's been
Tiana are
very peaceful.
Yeah, today was super chill. So yeah, things are going to be a bit light on the next update. Just a quick disclaimer, but we're all working on exciting stuff otherwise. Joel and I are still trudging through the forest work.
I did the day backwards, I think. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll flip the video just so it doesn't work when you do it.
Well, I've done it both ways.
Yeah, so how's the forest stuff going, Joel?
It's going well. We've I didn't think about this beforehand.
No.
It's going well. We've started I guess exploring more numbers that I've set up at some time in the past for us to tweak, stuff like the amount of height variations and mountains and valleys that we can generate.
Yep.
We're starting to, I've been integrating a bit of what Sol has been working on, so I've been working on getting like a drawbridge to spawn in, and it has to have lots of procedural stuff because not all gaps are the same length, so it needs to work out how big to make the drawbridge and how to angle things and stuff like that. So there's a fair bit involved in something as simple as a drawbridge, but it's pretty cool, the idea of being able to come across bits of the forest where you actually need to interact with mechanics to try and cross from one location to another. And sometimes they won't be bidirectional, so sometimes being on this side of the valley I can use the mechanic to allow me to cross, but then if I was on the other side I might not be able to get back, or maybe the way of getting back is actually a different sort of challenge.
Yep. On my forest side of things, I've been working on the so you may anticipate that we're going to have different wood types when forests come out.
Supporters already knew this.
So with different wood types, means we're spawning different kind of trees you can cut down, and getting them to spawn nicely in the forest so that you can see this. The way trees kind of grow is that they cluster up. That was something that Serena was complaining a lot about when we first implemented the wood types, was that they were just kind of scattered evenly into like this noisy thing. But now you can actually find like these bundles of like these birch trees, for example, that have this beautiful orange, and you can see that in the distance that there's this like little clump with a little cluster over there.
So if you're hunting for birch trees,
yeah, you can actually
actually know where to go.
You can navigate through it a little bit, and it brings so much variance to the way all of that looks.
It's very colorful.
On top of that, I've been messing around with the numbers that Joel talked about. We're learning some new nuances of the system, what it can and can't do in that respect, which eventually I will bug Joel about.
Daily.
Yeah, and I'm starting to kind of go through and replace assets and optimize the ones that we've been spawning, because some of them have just been really quickly whipped together, just sculpting things and chucking them into build-up shapes. And yeah, we're slowly working towards making it more and more of the like experience with the right levels of challenges, the right levels of contents and rewards that you're going to get throughout the forest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the direction we're moving in.
We walked through it the other day.
Yeah.
We reached the top of the mountain.
Yep.
And then we both fell off a cliff and died.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to put collisions on some of the objects, which is causing us issues. But yeah, that's it for me.
What are you working on in the forest?
In the forest. Well, you got something spawning that I worked on a while ago.
Oh yeah.
That
Different
you
trees.
just got. No, the.
Oh.
Do you want to say that?
Oh yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
You're talking about the...
Yeah, you can say anything in the forest.
Yeah, you can talk about that. Yeah.
They got the. We were supposed to. So the. Do they know it's cold?
Yeah, they know it's cold.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just-
this a bit.
Don't
Yeah.
talk about the creature. Just talk about.
We made Hebios camps
Yeah.
like ages ago, and they were meant to be encounters that you could find in the forest, like.
Yeah.
And now they're actually spawning in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's happened.
I mean, and we put different tree types in which you worked on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Serena did all the work for the tree types. Some of the static trees that you might have seen, those are just kind of like reskins of the old trees. But I'm going to start replacing them soon. Like today.
Like
It's one of my
proper.
job, one of my tasks.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
fun.
so that you really get a different feel when you're in that part of the forest.
Because we have trees that you can woodcut and ones that you can't, and you're working on the ones that you can't
Yeah.
woodcut. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're much bigger, and you'll know whether you can cut them down. Or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely.
They're
know.
massive.
They're like 20 people around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're oddly shaped and very low poly looking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they kind of look the same way that the like brighter orange trees feel at the moment, compared to like the nice tall stacked oak trees and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah. So that kind of, I mean, otherwise, what else are you working on?
Well, for the last week, I worked on cosmetics,
Yeah.
but people really liked the last one.
Yeah, the Colmary Envoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope people like this one because it's been taking a while.
I'm glad someone likes your work. Serena.
Yeah. I'm glad it's somewhat appreciated.
Serena's been dreading this design that she's making now when she first saw it.
It's the most complex one that I've ever done.
I think it'll be a crowd favorite.
It's taken like a week, like more now.
Yeah.
It's taken 1 week.
It looks really cool.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's my favorite out of the bunch that I designed in that sprint of designing outfits.
Mhm.
So if this one does well, look forward to doing more.
Can we spoil it at all?
We don't have any visuals, but it's kind of like
Well, it has gloves.
it has
There we go. I
gloves.
spoiled something.
Yeah.
It's got cool
It
gloves.
actually has
Really cool
5.
gloves.
So most outfits we make have 4 pieces. This outfit has 5 pieces.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's as much spoilers as you're going to get. One of them are gloves. And that's full.
But you'll be able to try it on now that you've got the new cosmetics.
And you'll be able to try it on in the
Yeah.
main menu.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
gonna change everything.
Just like the current cosmetics.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess
when does this video come out?
This comes out early next week.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah. They'll have stuff, and this stuff is about to come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
If it gets finished.
like we can quickly talk about the last step and how fun it was making that stuff.
Yeah, we made
So
us 3 made a video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Forgot
Serena
about
forgot
that.
about it.
Wait, where are our counterparts? Why are we here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you asked.
We're
'cause
so
here they
much
are.
lesser.
Coming in, preset Barmy and Serena.
I
You're
much
really
prefer,
good at that.
I much prefer preset Barmy and Serena over these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had presets, and in case you missed the video somehow, you can watch it. It's called the ATT show. Number one.
Question mark.
I don't know if there's gonna be more. People talked about doing like a Nintendo Direct type of thing.
They didn't tell me what they were filming like prior to. They were just like, be in this video, be in this video. They like lay down here. I was like lying down like on the chair.
Yeah, she like, so there's that bench in the video.
And
This
she
is
was
and
hiding behind
She was
it.
hiding behind it.
Yeah.
So her voice would
Barmy-
come out from there, and I guess I was supposed to be back there as well, but
You didn't.
But-
You wouldn't have fit anyway.
yeah, and we wanted it to be. We were trying to ad-lib the whole thing, So
We
It was
did
just a
add
draft
multiple-
take.
yeah, it was just
we
it was,
made
it was,
up.
it was supposed to be just like a throwaway take, so we get used to it. But then, like Joel being embarrassed about talking to fake people, so
I'm like looking at nothing. I'm going, oh yeah.
No, but it's great. You're like in your head. You're like,
yeah, you're just
damn
like,
it.
That was.
so we got these these 2 new team members. That
Uh,
was great. That's a great, really fun video to premiere on YouTube.
You could make your own.
Yeah,
All the tools necessary to make a video like that
are available.
are available to you.
Yeah.
If you can work out what we mean by that.
Some people have worked it out.
Mhm.
Some people have worked it out.
Some people have. Yeah.
I'm really excited for the next video that's coming out.
Oh, the one coming
Yeah.
out.
Serena's
I-
finally
I
in all
really
these
enjoyed
videos.
it.
She's like, oh, I've been a puppet now.
Yeah.
I'm going to appear in Altacast. I'm going to be in the next gameplay video. Good work, Serena.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't know if this comes out before or after that video. But yeah, new gameplay video, Serena's in it. So if you haven't watched it already, if it's already out, go watch it. Otherwise, subscribe to our YouTube channel and get
It's not
notified when
gonna
it
be
comes
out
out.
before this. What?
No, it might.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Depending if we're trying to keep it like a super regular schedule.
Oh my goodness, please no. Sure.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so that.
What have other people been working on? Let's work through Eric's soul.
Yeah, so.
Been working on mechanics still. He's
Yeah.
been. I saw some teleporters in what he was working on. Other than that, I have no clue.
Yeah, so there's some interesting. Yeah, he's got a bunch of mechanics kind of working, and we'll bring him on once he's kind of done with more of them. We'll bring him on for an Altacast to talk about it. But yeah, he's got a library of stuff that he's got, and they're all going to help us create these fun interactions and mechanics that you're going to encounter. That's going to require a bit of like brains. Yeah. Victor's kind of doing like experimenting with optimizations on various things. He's going to be on that for a while, so get used to us saying.
He's also on holiday, so he's not.
Optimizations, yeah. Well, when
He's not actively doing.
He's not actively doing it, so he's gonna. But that's kind of what we're gonna keep saying about Victor for a long time.
Lots of optimizations.
Yeah, and maybe some of them will be actionable that they'll see the light of day in the game, but others might just be this kind of slow crunch of analysis and figuring stuff out. So yeah, it means that kind of. And what's Timo doing? Timo.
He's on holidays too.
Well, yeah, no, but
We already said this.
But what kind of frame of work is he in?
Relaxing.
I don't know. I think he's stressing about how expensive Japan is.
Timo's. I can't even remember. We'll work it out when he gets back.
So
and Tina's been doing a lot of just biz dev and planning. He's heading to GDC, so he's got to avoid the coronavirus, which is rampant in GDC apparently, causing Sony not to go.
Sony and Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's that, and
Yep.
that's
That's the team. Yep.
That's
Sebastian and Tiana.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might get something from Sebastian and Tiana this rotation.
Yeah.
This rotation. If I can work out how to hotfix.
Yes.
Joel's gonna be.
Yeah.
Joel's gonna be pulling the cranks.
Yeah.
I never
turning-
do. I don't know if I've ever done an update by myself.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, no.
Victor's
I haven't.
always been there
It's
as
always
well.
been Timo's department doing updates.
Victor's done them as well.
Victor's done them before too.
Alright, so this update,
The joys of delegation.
or this hotfix, I guess, more so than update.
Yeah, this hotfix.
Timo will be back for the next update.
Yeah.
For 51.
Thank
so.
goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so that wraps up, I guess, the.
wow, that was a really long what are we doing segment.
Yeah, we tangented it a little bit. But yeah, so today's main topic is the creatures of the forest. So we've talked a little bit about what you might do, but here we want to get into something a bit more specific. We're going to talk about what creatures you're going to get when the forest comes out.
So when's the forest coming out, Mr. Specific?
Well, I'm aiming for Q2, so I'm gonna drop that time on you right now.
Q2 2021.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the time frame we're gunning for. and I want to accelerate towards what that means, towards that end vision of the forest when it comes to doing stuff. So, yeah. But so we're gonna start off with like probably 3 animals that are coming to the forest. That's what we're gunning for. It's pretty ambitious thing because there's another creature that we're going to be working on that's going to be a bit more core to the gameplay in some respects. But to start off with, yeah.
This is only to start.
This is only to start, yeah.
The forest, we keep saying it, or at least I keep saying it. It's like a container that we're going to cram things into, but for our sake and your sake, there needs to be a point where we're like, this is where we're going to draw the line and actually release the first version of it, because otherwise we'll be spending our entire lives filling it with content and never feeling ready. So we need to draw the line somewhere, but of course we will be adding heaps to it over time. So three creatures to some people might sound like a lot because they're like 3 creatures in a game with like 4 creatures. That's doubling the creatures.
Yeah.
But to others it might be 3 creatures, that's not much. But the reason it's a lot of work for us is every creature is like super uniquely programmed, and art, like obviously there's some exceptions like the worms and Tarabatas each have like multiple variants, but for the most part nothing in the Tarabata code or art had anything to do with really the way other creatures move. It's actually a unique movement, unique fighting, unique everything. So.
But I mean, some respect, but like each of the things we learn from the current creatures we can carry over to the new ones.
Yeah.
So a lot of the modules that build up these current AIs will help build this, which is why we're kind of saying dropping 3 creatures when it's taken us like, you know, when we only released 2 Abatas last year, for example. And it's because now we have all these different parts of AIs that we can put together. And
eventually we'll have a million AI modules that create.
So,
hey Serena.
Hey.
Do you want to talk about the creature that you started work on?
Yeah, it's in really, really early stages. So it's only really been modeled. It hasn't been rigged up or animated or textured or anything. Can I say what it is?
Yeah, you can tell what it is.
It's basically...
It's a 3D model.
It's based... Oh my gosh, I can't remember what the name of it is.
It's called a dice.
Yeah, like DAIS.
D8.
And it's basically like a woodland deer creature.
Yeah.
Standard quadruped with beautiful...
I'll draw it so that people can visualize.
Antlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has antlers.
Does it have a tail?
What? That's not the tail you drew?
This is like a tiny one, like a small one.
It's like a little puff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting there.
I mean, okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. He's got the 4 knees thing correct. But yeah, so you're working on a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behavior-wise, the deer is kind of gonna be, you know, we have leather in the game at the moment that you get just from finding in loot. This creature is gonna be one of the ones that provides you with one of the leathers you're already using. Eventually we're gonna move them away from dropping in loot, because like loot crates are nice and all, but they're very much a easy way for us to give items that don't have like a real effort-based source. But with these creatures, you're gonna have to hunt them down to get this leather.
Sure.
So it's gonna be a creature that doesn't actually actively fight you, but it's gonna try and run away from you, which means that you're finally gonna see more of a use for long-range fighters like archers and stuff like that. And I guess what I'm casually saying with that is that with forest, we're probably gonna see a bit of an evolution with archery, because now we kind of have this platform in which we can evolve the system. So yeah, how do you feel that I just told you that your creations are going to be hunted by all the players?
Especially since you said that they won't attack you, they just run away.
Well, yeah,
they're innocent.
Yeah, but it's
No one feels bad killing a Spurgle because they're so annoying.
It makes sounds now. I felt bad when I killed one the other day.
That's true.
I was like, stop screaming at me.
And like Eric was getting super sad when Victor killed his firebug.
Oh yeah, the firebugs don't make too much sound when you kill them, but they They can make a squishy sound.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know farming.
I got trucked in the black. There were hundreds.
Shmichis make sounds when they die as well now.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
No.
Monsters.
I need to add a sound for when you bite into a Shmichi as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's.
Hey, that's not too bad.
That's
The fleshed-
actually
the
really
fleshed out
good,
version.
Joel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure about killing it in that area because then now you've damaged the hide. So I go for a
It's the
headshot.
problem
Yeah.
here is not the artist, it's the archer in the art is a crappy archer. So
That brings an interesting point. Is we'll probably introduce some more precision, some precise aspect of hunting, where where you can kind of damage the body of the dice that you're hunting.
you want to headshot it
so
for
yeah, you
the
want-
full meat potential.
For the full cranial shot, yeah, to not damage the leather hides you get. And yeah, so that means that some precision skills might be useful. And
It
yeah.
might sneaking is probably
Sneaking.
something else that
Yeah.
we're gonna tie into this creature especially. We might go back and tie it into some other creatures to some extent,
Yeah.
but noise is a concept that I think we've talked about on Discord at least,
Yeah.
but doesn't really tie into the game at all yet. But the idea of like banging a shield
to aggro enemies.
to aggro, or in the case of this fella, maybe scare it off. So
Yeah.
you could actually
You
potentially
can kind of like rally it.
yeah, you could like flank it, make noise, and have it run towards your hidden partner.
Are you gonna tie a voice chat in with that?
Oh, that'd be great. You
Yeah.
should.
Because like now you have to actually be quiet.
You have to always when you.
Maybe it might be difficult.
Yeah.
It goes through different servers, so
Yeah,
we'll
we
need to
kind of have to like listen to Voivox a bit more.
work that one out. I'm not sure how possible it is. We'll see.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's that. So that's one of the creatures. It's gonna be a deer. That's the most likely one to happen in case anything, any kind of wrenches get thrown our way.
Because it's almost the 3D art part is mostly done.
Yeah. And behavior-wise, we're very comfortable with what's involved with making this.
It's gonna be a lot faster than you. It's gonna prance and dance and
Yeah, I guess getting
Listen
the
to-
prancing to look nice is gonna be, I think, the biggest challenge. To make sure that it bounds nicely.
yeah.
And yeah, it'll be an interesting behavior for us to work with. The other creature, some people may have seen before if they found like obscure
This is my favorite.
obscure articles from on the internet. Let's see, Joel's drawing.
I remember that one. That was
Yeah.
the Chinese.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
isn't.
How are people gonna look for it?
Hmm?
Now that you mentioned it, people. are
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
look for it.
I think some people have it saved on like the hard drive already. These are called babus. I don't know if Joel's mentioned their name before.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh,
That's really good.
I know what I'm drawing.
It's not bad. They're kind of like large bisons. They're like a hybrid of boars and like a bear. They're gonna be one of the, I guess, a very territorial creature in that they'll only attack you if you aggravate it or if you get too close to it for too long.
I don't know what the
It's like really fluffy and shaggy.
the
Yeah.
whole thing is the head is too.
The head's shaggy as
The
well.
whole thing is shaggy.
Yeah.
It's like a Highland cow.
Yeah. And so they're going to be also probably found in the forest. I'm going to be the one working on this one. And there's some interesting behaviors with this one that I'd like to experiment with. And that's kind of, I don't know if I want to spoil it, but maybe I should.
Just say it.
Okay, so basically what I'd like for this one is for you to have some value for not hunting it. So if you were to track it and follow it and see what it does, it would maybe dig up some stuff that could be of value to you.
Its poop is actually.
Yeah, you can, maybe it'll be just like
When we have farming, like manure, so
Yeah.
you might want to keep these guys around.
what are they called, the ones in Don't Starve has that with the
Oh, they have a similar creature,
The
right?
beefalo.
Yeah.
Beefalos, yeah. So yeah, we'll try and keep them different enough so that it doesn't feel
So that you won't get
uninspired.
them confused with similar creatures from Star Wars.
But yeah, like I think it'd be an interesting thing for for that to be okay. You can get a lot of stuff because it's a huge creature that's covered in fur and leather and stuff like
But
that.
are they all huge for me?
Well, no, like
Are they really all huge?
we'll try and have baby versions or like growing versions of these.
Babies! Yeah, we get baby versions.
So
He's so cute.
Yeah, that'd be adorable. There's a and there's a whole life cycle kind of model.
It looks like a hedgehog.
I'm trying to make it not look like a
It
hedgehog.
looks like an echidna.
Because the way you're drawing the fur is too spiky looking.
Yeah, it's too directional.
You're not drawing it in like Township style.
It goes shaggy down.
Oh, sorry, Township style.
Oh.
It's real funny.
Is that those?
That's its spell.
So, yeah, but so for you to have different benefits of trying to hunt something that's young versus something that's kind of adult to something that's old, which I guess is like this part. And that is if we get to the point where we can do the life cycle. Like this one is a slightly riskier creature to make because it involves a lot of new stuff.
Yep.
A lot of overarching managerial stuff, things. And the way it attacks you is also going to be interesting because there's limited space in the forest. These things can run super fast, and we kind of want them to charge at you. You may also find them in fields and things like that, in like highland fields. So getting them to behave nicely in both open space and narrow space will be an interesting thing for us to do.
Sure will.
Yeah. Maybe they just barrage through everything.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they just destroy all the static trees and.
It's really difficult while making creatures to try and find a balance between physics and not physics. If you look at games like Monster Hunter, I was really impressed with how well those creatures interact with the environment. But if you actually look at it, they don't have a lot of physics going on at all. Like you will notice a lot of clipping if you look out for it. Like they'll clip through trees and they'll clip through rocks and they'll clip through literally everything. Because you're so focused on not dying that you're not really concerned that its tail went through a wall or something like that. Like, and I think it was when I looked at Monster Hunter and realized that was when I was like, okay, it's okay to do a bit.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a bit more.
It's better to have a bit of jank and have like a fun, thrilling possibilities than having something super scripted, super tailored that looks, technically flawless, but that you can see like the waist high cover equivalent of like this encounter.
Yeah, so our Spriggles originally were 100% kind of physics based, and they janked out a lot from physics. And then we were with the Gotera, we were like, let's make this guy actually like not be able to be knocked over, for instance, because the amount of extra craziness that
can happen from that.
Yeah, it's to us it was better to and so then it could big creatures, especially like the babu, I imagine are going to be quite aggressive. You're not going to be able to knock them around. They're going to be knocking you around and killing you if you touch them.
And the third creature is a small creature. Do you know what this one I'm alluding to is?
Yeah.
You probably made this one, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Is it the one that was kind of inspired by our hike?
I think so.
Like you drew it like pretty much every week. So we went hiking as a company to celebrate something. 20K on Discord or something.
Is this? Oh my goodness! Is that what it?
Yeah, that's what it's based. Well,
Oh
I don't know if I should
goodness.
say that it's based off of, but it's like inspired by it. And we saw on the trail this like pygmy mouse, like an Australian native, kind of very nocturnal, but it was during the day that we saw it, which was so amazing.
It was so small and so
and it
cute.
was so, it's like a little, like a mouse, like this big, like just on the trail. And I think we got like fairly close, or I got fairly close.
Yeah, we got fairly close to it.
But that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in the wild.
So we've got a little field mouse type of thing, I guess, or like little pygmy mouse. That's going to be another little critter type of creature that we're going to be adding.
It's going to hop.
It's going to hop around. And there's some behaviors that could be interesting with it that we want to experiment with.
Joel, this is not what it looks like.
Like maybe something like, I don't know, giving it food or something like that.
That's just a rat.
But we'll see what we can do about it. Because this is like the last one on the list, so it's the most likely one to get cut.
So angry.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, let me try
It doesn't
it.
look like that. Just look up like.
I don't know what it looks like.
what? Yeah, they're super cute.
Please vote.
Yeah, who's the better artist, guys? Joel or Corey?
There's a correct answer to this.
I think they have a little bit of teeth.
Oh my goodness, what is this little fella?
And then they've got these patterns on their back. And they have stripes across their tail. I mean, the tail's not this thinner actually, throughout the whole way. Yeah, that's kind of what they look like.
And are we meant to be killing these, or?
You can kill them. They're not going to give you much. They might give you like scrap meat, but
They're
yeah.
gonna give you guilt.
Yeah. They might have some interest. Also, they have long feet. Is the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cute.
So what's the point of these creatures, Barney?
It's more so just to kind of add life to the world, in some respect.
I think we're gonna add more of those things later.
Like
Are we gonna have stuff like birds, just kind of meaningless birds that might fly past? Are we gonna?
yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Maybe
And
some
there's lots
bugs
of
that
like
fly around.
flying creatures are a bit harder to do because the nav mesh isn't that three-dimensional, as in at all. Just made that look good. And so they're a bit of a bigger undertaking to do, but we'll try and get to them eventually. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up the 3 animals that we're gonna have in the game.
Are we talking about
in the
other
forest.
creatures?
There's one more creature that we're gonna quickly touch on, I guess, because if we're finishing up on time for this segment, well, actually, maybe it's fine. The next one is an actual enemy type that we're adding. So,
I don't know how much you're saying, so I'm just leaving this to
okay.
you.
I mean, let's start.
I'm happy to spill the beans, spill the tea, as they say
Okay,
these
so
days.
this other enemy is something that I want to work on probably almost first before I do the babus. And that's a enemy that's gonna occupy some of the, I guess, mechanical interactions that you're gonna be dealing with in the forest. So if you've got this, heavy drawbridge that you've got to pull and it takes time to do it, that interaction is gonna attract some creatures.
Oh, we're talking about that creature.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Oh, I didn't know which creature we were talking about. I
Okay,
forgot.
yeah.
We talked about this before
Yeah.
we did this, but then I forgot.
Yeah, so that creature is, it's gonna be part, the big deal about this creature is it's part of the faction that threatens the world of a Township Tale.
I'm gonna draw a picture.
Okay, you can try. I don't think you've seen the concepts that I've done of it, so.
Okay, continue.
So yeah, they are, you'll probably come across them already occupying an area, or they can start attacking you once you try and do things. And yeah, they're going to be a bit more advanced. They're probably going to use some very basic weapons. They're not going to be sentient smart. They're not going to be like a civilization. I'll say that much.
They're like barbaric minion smart.
Yeah, they're like a little bit like a feral.
Like the goblin-ish sort of classic intelligence. Maybe not
But
even that smart.
not even that
Goblins are
smart,
pretty smart.
Because these things don't need to
Goblins.
eat food or anything like that. They don't have real survival needs.
They're just
They don't have a need to build settlements that much.
angry.
They just
things.
they just attack all that is good in the world. And yeah, they're gonna be so.
You can kill them mercilessly
Yeah.
without feeling bad.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're not gonna feel guilty about killing.
You're just gonna slaughter this thing left, right, and center, rid
Yep.
the world of its evil presence.
And yeah, and that concept of like this evil faction is gonna become a big driver in the kind of enemies we have. So if you ever make those,
Are they really evil?
they're not gonna be
or are
cute
you
that much
the
more.
evil one?
Okay, because
Destroying them.
we talked about like trying not to make creatures cute, and I have a bit of a
Or
Problem
having-
with making
artistic
things
issue.
cute.
Yeah, it just comes out that way. Like I feel like the firebug wasn't meant to be cute.
I mean, it was kind of was, but not like. No, I think it was cute enough.
Yeah.
Design wise,
I
yeah.
They always end up being a little bit cute.
Yeah. So,
But these guys.
but we have a good mix in the game.
This
There's one that I can think of that I don't think is cute, and that's the one that you made that isn't in the game.
Oh yeah.
That's not cute.
Yeah.
No, that's not cute.
No one.
We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that one.
No, we're not. But it's there. Now they're interested.
Yeah, these guys are gonna piss you off. You're gonna be trying to adventure. You're gonna be trying to, do things, and they're gonna be coming, wrecking your life because that's how they get enjoyment.
Yeah.
So you're gonna.
And eventually, we want to expand the roster of what their presence means in the world. So it's not just gonna be the ones you find in this first stage. Then you might get other members of their faction coming across these encounters as well. But the big part about this is that it's kind of a procedural enemy. It's not something it's something that can react to your presence a lot more and come at you when they so choose. Which means that we can kind of put them anywhere. And so it lets us expand the whole world a lot without having to create too much infrastructure for them to exist. And
it's not going to be like GoTerra, which have a GoTerra spot in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be we don't have to worry about them trying to patrol these ruins in a very specific way. We don't have to worry about them looking like they need to cook food for themselves or like sharpen weapons because they're kind of these evil entities.
More information to come.
Yeah, more coming in future time.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So that wraps up the first segment of the Altacast.
Yay.
Yay. And now we're going to move on to the question and answer part. So Joel's going to be...
Serena, what is the time period of the game, year?
Oh, interesting. We always said like medieval fantasy, but we have kind of like extended it a little bit just in terms of like cosmetics as well. We've kind of brought anything like all the way up to the Victorian era in there, but it's fantasy, so time period.
Yeah, it's a bit of a high fantasy theme to it. I think in terms of like a numerical year, which I guess is what the question was.
730
No.
GF.
Gluten-free rating.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's the answer.
To give a semi-real answer is that you have, like in the game, you have seen things that happened that did happen quite a long time ago. Some of the things are quite old that you've come across. So maybe take the current state of where your personal technology is at versus what you see, and then I guess you can kind of formulate an idea of
I feel like
the speed at which this society develops.
In this universe, or in this area of the world, the date would probably, like we do AD, which is Anno Domini or whatever, I don't know, like from Jesus' birth, pretty much. And then in this world, Jesus didn't exist, so the date is going to be different. Like the date system. No,
like the date system does not.
And I feel like
compare.
what it would be probably in reference to like what the date system would come from is probably an event which we will help you explore once we get more to the lore side of things, and they'll have a better idea of how long it's been since these sorts of big events happened in the past.
I wanted to poke your cheeks so badly.
I'm trying to cosplay as the little rat thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got stripes and everything.
Professional rat. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a huge amount of time, so we're gonna rapid fire these a little bit.
Okay. Let's do this. Please give us more info on in-game language.
In-game language is in development. The Turbottas and the GoTerras are named in that language. Spriggles, worms, firebugs are not at the moment. The Phantoms don't have a name at the moment either. The way you'll learn about them is maybe through some kind of book studying. The exact format we haven't decided on yet.
Giant Shmichi statues or general in-game statues of any kind. Will it
That could be cool if we have like chiseling stone. Maybe in the future we could have, statues.
I've got some ideas.
I'm probably gonna tie in with furniture systems once house building's a thing.
Cool.
Actually, do want some statues now.
What do you think of eventually having multiple towns?
Currently, we're leaning on no for that. because we want people to hang out in one spot, and we don't want to divide people up too much with different hubs.
Does the land itself have a name?
Yes.
Someone said they love my idea of a language that you don't have to translate or something. I don't know, and they would love to learn how to read this new language. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a question, but thank you. How often will the forest reset, and what kind of unique things can we find in the forest?
So forests are probably going to reset probably alongside the overworld wipes that we do, and that's only for the public servers. Unique content is going to feature different enemies, different woods, new plants, new food.
Lots of collecting.
Lots of foraging items and lots of woodcutting items, hunting items, hunting
and then
stuff.
Ruins and dungeons might be present there. Probably not when we first release it, but it's a container. And the goal is to make it so big and so vast and full of content that like it's you don't need to reset it. Same with the mines. Once we have more biomes and more ways of transporting and getting between layers, the idea is that it shouldn't need to ever actually reset. It kind of progresses with your player base. After the forest update, will you work on another big update, or will you focus on smaller updates?
We'll probably be moving on to another big update, and we're not going to say what that is.
And we'll probably still have forest.
We'll have more forest stuff to work on, like content-wise, to sort of finish the image that we have of the forest.
After you're done with the forest, will you work on housing or farming at all?
It's possible that we'll work on a new profession type of thing, but I think we'll still kind of be gunning for that end game-ish content for a bit.
We don't have dates for these things, so
we're kind of taking things one at a time.
Once we're done with the forest, we'll really evaluate what we're up to.
We'll evaluate the needs of the game at that time.
Any plans? Serena, you can answer this one because Boromir hogs all the questions.
That's okay.
Are there any plans to separate out asymmetrical cosmetics into left, right, so things that don't interfere with each other can be worn? Stuff like gloves, earrings, wrist, arm accessories. I want to wear the single sleeve on one arm and bangles on the other, and it's weird that I can't.
Yes.
Okay, cool. When will the game be ported to VR? What kind of small additions are we to expect in the future? All these questions about what happens after the forest's around. We'll see. Have you thought about having quest-giving NPCs? They can be handy for accessing resources or helping kill some time within the game.
Do you want to say that one?
Have we thought about it? Yes. Are we going to have quest-giving NPCs? Not directly. We did do an Altacast on quests. If you want to watch that, so presumably if you've watched the 40 minutes of this so far, you'll be happy to.
Did we do one quests? I think maybe we did.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we?
I don't know. We talked about forest one of them.
No, we did I thought we did the sort of quests we'll have in the game are more passive quests rather than.
If it doesn't exist, it's probably the first forest Altacast we did.
Regardless, the idea of actual really, really classic MMO style fetch quests or whatever, they might have an ever so slight presence if it really thematically fits in, but we're not just going to throw in arbitrary quests for the sake of.
Yeah, it's probably it's very.
And we're not going to have human NPCs. What will the future look like for ATT? Will newcomers be directed away from public servers?
Yes. We want to be able to play on community servers as much as possible, or their own servers, to kind of spread out the user base a little bit and get people to play with various levels of security.
We might privatize the public servers at some stage. Not privatize, but not make them show by default. So you have to join the group, kind of like you can join any of the open servers right now.
And we want to improve discovery for community servers as well.
Enchanting weapons as a late game feature.
Yep.
How much verticality will the forest have? Will there be like stairs spiraling up to the trunk of a tree, then bridging across to a treehouse? That sounds cool.
Possibly that's like yeah. We kind of have to.
There's a lot of cliffs right now, like a lot of cliffs.
I know there's already a lot of verticality in the
if
terrain.
you want to die from falling, you could probably find some way to do it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but mixing mesh and terrain is going to be a bit of a tricky thing because we're kind of juggling generation a bit, but it is something that we'll try and support with the forest.
A big cool thing about the forest in comparison to the caves is that you're looking not just left and right, but there is a lot of looking up and down. Like you're constantly going, let's try and work out how to get up there, and you can see there's a path up that slope and a path there. And when we have climbing, we'll have climbing in the forest, which is obviously a big vertical aspect as well.
We'll go 4 minutes.
Okay, well, let's just do one more then. There's no more questions that I want to do. I guess there's one question on magic. Magic where you have to prepare spells in advance, and then...
That's so D&D.
Oh, like preparing a kit.
Yeah.
like you prepare spells and then you do once per long rest.
There is going to be a bit of like, I guess, some kind of loadout aspect to it in the way in what you bring with you and what kind of magics you're good at, because you're not going to be able to just have something that is amazing at everything.
Yeah.
So the concept of specialization is also going to be a part of the Township Tale, and maybe it's something that is in an equipable state as opposed to being purely changed, so that it matters about how you gear yourself. But more on that once we do magic properly.
Cool. Final question: which of these four are you most excited for, Boar?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably that one.
The psych.
Yeah. I mean these two.
What about you, Serena?
Probably that one.
one?
Yeah. Oh god, I'm so predictable. Really.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Good.
Alright.
Yeah. So
That's
we'll have different ideas. All right. So that's the Altacast.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us, Serena.
Thanks.
Yeah. And leave your questions in the Q&A link below, and we'll answer them next time.
Alright.
Bye bye.
Bye.